What's cracking, everybody? New video. No echo today. But unfortunately, I'm still dealing with my damn sinuses. So, the other day, I don't know, maybe it was about a week ago, I saw that Gunner put out a video. And he said it was the video was called something like "When the Yard Hits," and it had to do with when dope hits the yard, right? And I said, you know what? I'll go ahead. I got a story or two about that, right? Now, as I've said before, I didn't use drugs in prison. I smoked weed, I think, 2 times in 1995, 1996, around there, right? Just wasn't my thing, man. You know, there's so much going on in there. I talked about it in my podcast, not on this YouTube channel, but on my podcast, which I haven't done anything on in a long time because none of you show up anymore. But I have an episode on there about why I never did drugs in prison, and basically it was prison is a place where if you're smart, you don't want to have any vices. Not even coffee. I cut tobacco, coffee, everything, alcohol, everything. I wanted to be able to focus on my surroundings and not have anyone be able to have any leverage on me because of a vice that I may have decided to have, which is keeping it real, not to offend nobody, but a vice in there, a habit in there is a weakness. And I saw when I went into prison young, I paid attention to everything, right? I saw individuals who were heavy and over a shot of dope, they might have bent a row or two. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, if that's the case, then whoever holds the bag has the real power. So we're going to talk about that today. So there were a few years, man, where I was getting dope on the yard. How I was getting dope doesn't matter, right? But I had a reputation to have top quality stuff, no matter what it was. If it was white, if it was black, if it was green. My black, shout out to the Coachella Valley, the best heroin in the state comes out of the Coachella Valley. That was where my connect was. That's where my stuff was coming. But I'll tell you guys this, man. Prison always exposes people for who they really are, right? And I'll give you an example as far as the dope game, right? So I was a businessman, right? When I was hitting dope, it was to take care of business. And those of you that haven't seen Free World Robert's channel, he actually put it out there that I was hitting a lot of dope and I was making a lot of money, and it's true. He was there with me on the yard, and I was raking it in, right? I was also on the yard crew, so it was during the weekends. And stuff's coming in, and it would be every morning, man. I would come out, I would be out there, yard crews out there first, them and the Mac reps, and dudes would come out and they would be like, hey, and I'd be like, of course, every weekend I hit. But I always tried to be more organized in what I was doing, right? To where if somebody owed me $200, they were done with me. Right, and I tried to get at the other vatos that were slinging dope, like, hey, Holmes, why don't we just go ahead and make sure that everyone is aware of where a vato's at, so we don't have somebody, run up 500 with you and 1,000 with you, because some vatos will get money hungry, and somebody go at them like, hey, Holmes, let me get this much, my money's good, and everybody's money is always good until it isn't, and you don't know when it runs out, and they don't either until their family says, we can't afford this bullshit no more. But you would have vatos that would be greedy, right? Vato would go to him like, hey, Holmes, let me get a deal on the gram. And whatever their deal would be, it's not my fucking business, right? I just knew what my dealings were going to be with somebody. And I would try to tell Vatos where, hey, Holmes, if you know, you got this Vato, one individual owing you 1,000, and he owes this Vato over here 500, he owes me 200. You really think he's gonna pay all that? Unless he's an Indian, unless he's a native and got that casino money, he's not gonna be able to cover that. Not in the time frame he's supposed to. Right? And sure enough, I'm gonna tell you guys, for those of you that don't know, the majority of dudes that get washed up on the yard, they get washed up on the yard over dope. And you know why? Because unlike a lot of the dudes, when I would be on the yard slinging dope, like I said, I would be like, hey, homie, I don't have a problem with you knowing who my customers are and where their tally is with me. But see, a lot of other bottles where they had, you know, again, you know, when I do these videos, it's not to glorify it. It's to let you have a glimpse at the lifestyle. And whenever I did anything, I always try to do it with a boss mentality. But I would deal with individuals that had that curb server mentality. A curb server is greedy. He don't see the big picture, right? So they would be, nah, homie, I really don't want you to know who my customers are. Like, fool, everybody comes to me. My dope's always better than yours. You know what I'm saying? Like, all right. But I would limit myself 200 to 250. Pay me my 200, my 250, and you can get something else from me. But these other dummies, they would be letting bottles run up $1,000 tab. Next thing you know, the bottle locks up. But you know what? He only got me for 200, at the most 250. Guess what he got this jackass for? And that jackass for 1,000, 1,200. The fuck are you thinking? Then there would be other times, flip. It would be like I had certain customers that their money was great, but it was slow. And you had to know who had fast money, who had slow money. And if your objective is to get money, then as long as they owe you, you never go broke, right? And I remember, you know, there'd be certain dudes where, you know, I'd be on the yard and it'd be like, hey, homie, I'm gonna whack this bottle. Like, why? Because he owes me some feria. He bought some dope off me and he owes me some feria. And I would know the dude because I'm yard crew, because I'm on the yard. I know everybody, right? And I'll be like, this bottle's not even a hitter. You know what I mean? He don't even hit dope. So it was one of those things where, you know, unfortunately, you know, sometimes a gangster will get kicked down a paper and then think he's a dope dealer. So he sold the dope. He'll sell the dope on the yard with a gangster mentality. You know what I'm saying? And not a motherfucking boss mentality. Especially not that, but not even a dope dealer mentality. He's like, here's this $50 paper and I want to get paid in 3 days, right? But the guy he sold it to might have slow money. Might be one of my best customers. So a lot of times, Vatos would get at me like, hey, homie, check this out. I'm going to have this dude hit, or I'm going to hit this dude. And I'll be like, for what? He owes me some feria. Who is it? And like I said, he might be a really great customer of mine. And he just has slow money, but he always comes through, right? And I'll be like, how much he owe you? $50. $200. And I say, what? I said, man, check this out. Give me your address, Holmes. That debt's mine. Let him know he owes me. I'm going to pay you. Keep the guy on the yard. I'm making thousands off the guy. And that guy, you know what? He don't go through them no more. And I became able to monopolize. Not because I was bullying nobody, but because others were trying to bully people. You know? I'll tell you one thing. I never, ever had any I never brought dope in on my own. Not one time. Never. But I had a thing in there where if you got at me and you were willing to bring in some dope for me, if you weren't willing to respect your family or your wife or your lady or whoever was gonna bring it in, I'm not gonna respect them either. Just have my stuff. My stuff, I used to always have it come in, no matter what the amount was. 3 balloons. The runner, you take the one you like, send me 2, right? And I was pretty damn successful. At one point, I had one of my homeboys move up to a prison close to where I was, permanently, get a residence close to the prison. And I would wait on these runners, right? These vatos that would hit every weekend. Like I said, I would always have my stuff coming in. But I was always on standby. Vatos would come, they'll go to visit. Like I said, I'm on the yard crew. So I'm on the yard all day. I'm making money. I'm doing whatever. And I would see a connect leave visit early, and I would just hear it in my head. Cha-ching. I know why he left early. And they would come straight to me. Hey, homie, can I holler at you? Of course you can. Hey, Holmes, the connect, he fucked up. And, mine I wasn't able to pick up, or whoever it was in their family wasn't able to pick up. I said, okay. You got the hotel? They always knew the game. They would give me the address to the hotel, give me their lady's phone number. I would go on my cell, jump on my cell phone, call my homeboy. Hey, go to this hotel. 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. Take this. Sunday, I'd be sitting like a champ, making more money. Unfortunately, because of the vices that people had, no matter how much boss mentality I would try to have, no matter how much business mind I would try to apply to this dope dealing in prison, people in prison are still reliant on the people on the outside. People in prison that have those type of habits, they always go overboard. People on the street, like, look, me being on the streets now, I have a full understanding of how difficult it is to make ends meet. I make decent money off of YouTube at this point, thanks to you guys. I make decent money, and I have a full-time job, and I still struggle to make ends meet. I couldn't imagine having a family member in the joint that is a fucking pig when it comes to his drug habit. Then again, fool wouldn't be getting nothing out of me to control his habit, People have to do what they have to do their time, I understand that. But I used to also look at really, really solid dudes, really good dudes that had a bad habit. And next thing you know, sooner or later, you'd see them on a gurney, full of holes. Why? Because they had a habit they couldn't control. Those of you that watch my videos that have a habit of your own, I know you wish you could beat it, some of you, and I hope you do, man. Because that dope habit can lead you right to the joint. And you go to the joint with the habit, it's a different world. It's not like out here. Like I said, there's vatos that get kicked down a $50 paper. They're going to sell it to you. They don't have a boss mentality. They have a gangster mentality. They're greedy. They're going to put that paper in their hand. And if you agree to pay in 3 days and you don't, it ain't the streets, buddy. He's coming for you. Unless there's a businessman around him like me that'll save $50. And I'll take that. But then again, I guess you could say that was my greed back in the days, because I knew I could pinch more out of you by giving you more time. But eventually, your habit was going to get the best of you. Prison is a cold world, man. There's no sympathy. There's no love. You go to prison, you're going to be expected to be willing to die, get shot or stabbed for the man next to you. And he's going to be expected to do the same. But don't get it fucked up. It ain't out of love. It's out of obligation. So I'll go ahead and bring this one to a close, man. Everybody be safe, be smart. And before I say tell the ones you love that you love them, if you have a habit, man, work on that. You don't want to be behind them walls with the habit. You don't want to be behind them walls, period. But especially if you have a habit. So, with that, tell the ones you love that you love them, man. I'm out.